I opened the door, and there she was. Jessica. Half-dressed. Straddling my boss. The room reeked of betrayal, his tie wrapped around her wrist, her moans still echoing as I stood there in the doorway like a ghost. They didn't even notice me at first. My briefcase slipped from my hand and hit the hardwood floor with a dull thud. That's when they froze. Her eyes widened, mouth still parted. His face turned pale. Jessica didn't scream. She didn't apologize. She didn't even flinch. She just stared at me and muttered, "Jake? You weren't supposed to be home." Let me rewind. 12 hours earlier, I was in a meeting at the office when I got an alert on my phone, motion detected in our bedroom. At first, I thought it was the kids, maybe the dog. But when I pulled up the camera, what I saw made my blood turn to ice. Jessica, my wife of 9 years, walking into our bedroom with my boss, Greg. Laughing. Kissing. Stripping. All of it, captured in crisp 1080p. I didn't react. Not yet. I finished the meeting like nothing happened, shaking hands, faking smiles. But inside, a storm was building. I told my secretary I wasn't feeling well and left early. No traffic, no music. Just silence and rage as I drove home, trying to stop my hands from shaking on the wheel. What I didn't expect was to find them still at it. Still in our bed. Still destroying whatever version of reality I thought I was living in. Back to the moment I walked in, Jessica finally stood up, casually covering herself with a throw blanket like I was some kind of inconvenience. Greg fumbled for his pants, muttering something about misunderstanding. Jessica just rolled her eyes. "I didn't plan for you to see this," she said, voice flat. "But maybe it's better this way. We both know we've been drifting for years." That was her explanation. Not an ounce of guilt. No fear. No shame. She talked like she was discussing the weather. Meanwhile, every memory, our wedding, our kids' births, every stupid anniversary dinner I planned, was flashing through my head like a dying slideshow. "What about Tyler? Emma?" I asked, my voice hoarse. She smirked. "You really want to go there?" That smirk. That arrogant, smug little smirk. That's when it hit me. I remembered the blue eyes. The blonde curls. The way the kids looked nothing like me. Suddenly, years of small red flags turned into one giant bonfire in my head. My legs nearly gave out. My world was unraveling faster than I could think. "You're telling me..." I started, but couldn't even finish. Jessica shrugged like it was no big deal. "They're Greg's." "Probably." My heart stopped. Not only had she cheated on me, repeatedly, coldly, but she had let me raise his kids. Kids I loved more than my own life. Kids I thought were mine. And now, with that one word, probably, she destroyed everything. "You let me think they were mine," I whispered. "You wanted to believe they were." "I didn't stop you," she said, sitting on the edge of the bed like nothing mattered. "Look, I didn't want it to get messy. But now that it's out, maybe it's for the best." Messy? This wasn't messy. This was war. She didn't realize it yet, but in that moment, something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was done talking. I was going to take everything. And I meant everything. I didn't answer Jessica. I didn't need to. The look on my face must have said everything. Greg awkwardly shuffled out of the room, trying to avoid eye contact like a coward who just realized he'd pissed off the wrong man. He muttered some pathetic apology about not meaning for it to happen, as if that would glue my shattered life back together. I didn't look at him. I didn't blink. I just walked past them both, grabbed my car keys from the counter, and left. That silence? That was the most dangerous version of me. I didn't go to a bar. I didn't crash at a buddy's place. I drove to a 24-hour pharmacy, bought 2 paternity test kits, and headed straight to my kids' school. I told the principal there was a family emergency, picked them up early, and brought them home. I played it cool. Smiled. Told them we were doing a fun DNA science game, like they do on YouTube. Tyler laughed, Emma giggled. I swabbed them both, sealed the envelopes, and told them I'd take them out for ice cream later. They had no idea I was dying inside. Back in the house, Jessica was lounging on the couch, scrolling her phone like nothing had happened. I didn't say a word. I packed a bag, just essentials, and walked out. As I opened the door, she finally looked up. "Where are you going?" she asked, annoyed like I'd left the trash unemptied. I turned my head slowly, eyes burning through her. "To think," she scoffed. "Don't be dramatic, Jake. We can talk when you calm down." That phrase. Calm down. She still thought she was in control. She had no idea. Over the next 3 days, I stayed at a small roadside motel and thought of every mistake I'd made in the past 9 years. Every warning sign I ignored. Every time she gaslit me into thinking I was paranoid. Every holiday we spent smiling for pictures with her lies tucked neatly beneath her makeup. I thought about the nights she said she was tired. The weekends she had conferences. The nights I cooked dinner while she texted him under the table. I wasn't just betrayed. I'd been played like a fool. And when the DNA test results came in, the last thread snapped. 0% match. Both kids. Greg was the father. Both times. I sat there holding the envelope in my shaking hands, heart pounding like it wanted out of my chest. I'd never felt pain like that before, like my soul had been ripped out and replaced with something sharp, something that couldn't be softened anymore. But then came clarity. I wasn't going to lose everything. Not without burning her illusions to the ground. No screaming. No begging. No confrontation in public. This wouldn't be a fight. This would be a surgical strike. I booked an appointment with the best family lawyer in the city. Told him everything. Showed him everything. Photos, camera footage, DNA tests. His expression didn't even change. He'd seen this kind of thing before. But what he said next lit a fire in me. "She played you, Jake. But that means she's sloppy. If we're smart, we'll take her house, her car, even custody. You loved those kids for a decade. That matters in court." So I nodded. War had been declared. But unlike her, I was going to fight clean, and still win dirty. Back at home, I played nice. Moved back in. Said I needed space to figure things out. Jessica bought it. She thought I was trying to save the marriage. She thought she'd won. She even started being sweet again, dressing up, cooking dinner, thinking a few hot meals and fake smiles would fix it all. But I wasn't her husband anymore. I was her executioner. I played my part perfectly. Each morning, I'd kiss her cheek like nothing had happened. I'd drop the kids off at school, smile at the neighbors, even post a photo of our happy family dinner on Facebook. Jessica was smug. She thought everything was slipping back into place. That I had forgiven her. She had no idea she was sleeping next to a ticking bomb. The thing about betrayal is, it sharpens you. I saw everything now with brutal clarity. The subtle shift in her tone when she talked to Greg on the phone. The lies in her eyes when she said she was going to the store. The fake laughs. The overcompensating affection. She was trying to secure her position before I could flip the table. Too late. I already had a lawyer gathering evidence, a private investigator trailing Greg, and a hidden mic in the living room catching every detail. I was building my case like a puzzle, and every day she handed me more pieces. One night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed. I didn't even hesitate. Opened it with the passcode I'd memorized years ago. The first message was from Greg. "Greg, last night was unreal. You always know how to make me forget she even exists." She? I scrolled up. And there it was. Jessica talking about me like I was some dull background character in her little soap opera. Saying she was managing me, keeping the dummy calm, and buying time until she figured out custody stuff. Custody. She was planning to take the kids, my kids, away from me. Not biologically mine, maybe. But emotionally? Spiritually? They were mine in every way that mattered. I'd been there for every diaper, every fever, every scraped knee. And this woman, this manipulative sociopath wanted to erase me? I copied every message. Forwarded them to my email. My lawyer would eat it up like candy in court. She stepped out of the shower minutes later, towel wrapped around her, all smug and warm. "Want to join me next time?" she asked, voice dripping with fake sweetness. I smiled. Maybe. Inside I was ice. But I had to be smart. The next week, I met with my lawyer again. He laid everything out: the messages, the DNA test results, the footage, the audio, even a recording where she called me. Too pathetic to notice anything. That was gold. Timing is everything, he said. When you hit her with this, you hit hard. You want her so off balance she doesn't see the fall coming. And I agreed. So I waited. I smiled. I kissed her. We even had dinner with Greg one night. That was a special kind of hell. Watching them sit across the table, pretending like everything was fine, while I held back the urge to break every dish in the house. But I didn't. Because I had something better than rage. I had the truth. And soon the truth would become my weapon. It all built up to one Saturday morning. Jessica was in the kitchen, wearing my hoodie, making pancakes like she was June Cleaver. The kids were upstairs. I walked in, set my phone on the counter, and hit record. Jessica, I said calmly. We need to talk. She turned, spatula in hand. Oh boy. What now? I pulled out the DNA tests, the texts, the pictures. Laid them out on the table like cards in a poker game. Her face? Pure theater. Eyes widened. Lip quivered. Then came the classic. Jake. I can explain. No, I said. You can't. And you won't. This is over. I'm filing for divorce, and you're going to lose everything. You hear me? Everything. She laughed, bitter and loud. You don't have the balls. I leaned in, close enough to see the panic behind her mascara. Watch me. Jessica wasn't scared, at least not yet. She still thought she could outtalk me, twist the story, maybe even cry her way back into control. But this wasn't one of her little soap operas. I wasn't the soft-hearted husband anymore. This was war. And I had already loaded the ammo. She snatched the documents off the counter like they offended her existence. You really went behind my back with the DNA test? You're unbelievable, Jake. Not as unbelievable as you raising 2 kids with another man under my roof, I replied calmly. She rolled her eyes and poured herself a coffee like we were having a casual morning disagreement. You always overreact. I knew you'd find out eventually. I was just trying to keep the peace. The peace? I laughed dryly. You were sleeping with your boss in our bed while our kids were downstairs watching cartoons. Don't talk to me about peace. Her face twisted, but she tried to stay composed. So what now? You think you can just throw me out and take the kids? Good luck with that. The courts always side with the mother. I smirked. Normally, yes. But they also tend to side with the legal father. And guess who's been on every birth certificate, who's paid for every doctor's visit, who's listed on every school record? Me. Not Greg. Me. She blinked. That was the first moment she looked worried. Besides, I continued, I've got more than enough proof to bury you in court. Adultery. Paternity fraud. Parental alienation. And best of all, that text where you said you were manipulating me while planning to take the kids. Jessica's jaw tightened. You're bluffing. I pulled out my phone and opened the email thread. Showed her the screenshots. Her face turned pale as drywall. You saved those? She whispered. I leaned against the counter, arms folded. Every single one. She snapped then. Threw her coffee cup against the wall, shattering it into 100 pieces. You think you're gonna make me look like the bad guy? You think anyone's gonna believe you over me? I don't need anyone to believe anything, I said, stepping closer. I just need the court to see the facts. And Jessica, facts don't care about your lies. That line shut her up. I left her standing there, shaking with rage and desperation. Walked upstairs to my kids, still in their pajamas, eating cereal and watching cartoons. Tyler looked up and said, Dad, why's Mom yelling again? I smiled gently. Don't worry about it, buddy. Everything's going to be okay. Because it was. For the next 2 weeks, Jessica tried every trick in her playbook. Sweet texts. Fake tears. Guilting me with, You're breaking up our family. She even cooked dinner 3 nights in a row, which, for her, was practically a miracle. But I didn't budge. I let her perform. And when the court date came, I brought the show to an end. Greg showed up too, probably hoping to support her or maybe cover his own tail. But I'd already sent his boss an anonymous tip about their little office romance. Turns out their company has a strict no fraternization policy. He was served his termination letter right there in the parking lot. Jessica went ballistic. You set him up? I looked her dead in the eyes. No. You set this up. I just let it play out. That's when her mask finally cracked. She screamed, cried, begged, in front of the judge. Not for me. For the kids. She was trying to salvage her image. But it was too late. The evidence was overwhelming. And the judge? He didn't like liars. Not only did I get primary custody, I kept the house. Jessica was ordered to pay child support. Her worst nightmare had just begun. But mine was finally over. I wish I could say I felt satisfaction as the judge read the ruling, but the truth? I just felt numb. Jessica sat across the courtroom in stunned silence, mascara streaked from her forced tears. Her high-end lawyer, probably paid with money I unknowingly provided, looked defeated. Even he knew they had no chance. The evidence was too tight. The betrayal too deep. Her lies too loud. I walked out of that courtroom with my head high, my kids' hands in mine, and her world in ruins behind me. But revenge wasn't just about winning in court. It was about taking back my life piece by piece, and making sure she never had the power to destroy it again. A week after the ruling, Jessica moved out. She tried to act cold, like it was her decision, like she didn't care. But I saw the cracks. The way she avoided eye contact with the kids. The forced smile when she handed over their favorite toys. The hesitation before walking out the door for the last time. She didn't say goodbye. She just muttered, "You'll regret this," and left. I didn't regret a damn thing. Her new reality hit hard and fast. No Greg, he dumped her right after getting fired. No job, her affair had gotten around the industry fast, and no company wanted to take the risk. No house, because it was legally mine. And no kids, because, as much as she birthed them, she had never really been there for them. The kids, surprisingly, adjusted fast. Emma clung to me a little more than usual, asking when Mommy would be back. Tyler, though. Tyler didn't ask. He was quiet. Observant. One night he came into my room and said, "I heard you and Mom fighting. Is that why she's gone?" I sat him down, took a deep breath, and told him the truth, but the version a kid could handle. "Sometimes," I said, "people make really big mistakes. And those mistakes hurt the people they love. But it's not your fault. And it's not your sister's fault. You're both safe. And you're loved." He nodded, just once. Then hugged me tighter than he ever had. That hug was worth more than any court victory. Still, Jessica couldn't leave things alone. She started showing up unannounced. First at the school, then at the house. She'd stand outside, demanding to speak to the kids. Sometimes crying, sometimes yelling. She tried to make me the bad guy. Tried to turn the kids against me. It didn't work. Because I never badmouthed her, not to them. I didn't need to. Her actions did the talking. The older the kids got, the more they remembered. The late nights. The arguments. The lies. One evening, she even tried to barge into the house. I had to call the cops. That's when I finally filed a restraining order. And the woman who once thought she was untouchable? She stood on the curb in front of our home, screaming at me as the police calmly told her to leave. "Everything you have is because of me," she shouted. "You'd be nothing without me." I almost laughed. Because before her, I was kind. Trusting. A little naive. Now I was sharper. Stronger. Wiser. She didn't build me. She broke me. And I rebuilt myself better. Weeks passed. Then months. The noise faded. The drama died down. Jessica eventually disappeared from our lives like a storm finally passing. I got a new job. Better pay. Shorter hours. More time with my kids. Tyler joined the soccer team. Emma started drawing again. And me? I found peace, not because I got revenge, but because I found freedom. From lies. From manipulation. From the version of love that felt more like a leash than a bond. And somewhere along the way, I stopped looking back. It's funny how quiet life becomes when the chaos finally leaves. You don't notice how loud the lies were until they're gone. The tension in the walls, the fake smiles across the dinner table, the shallow laughs you force out just to keep the peace, all of it disappears like smoke once the fire is out. And for the first time in years, I could actually breathe. The house felt different now. No more perfume masking the stench of deceit. No more high heels echoing down the hallway late at night. Just me and the kids. And silence, the good kind. Tyler's grades started going up. Emma started sleeping through the night again. I hadn't realized how much they'd been carrying, how much they'd absorbed from watching their mother treat our home like a revolving door of deception. Kids know. Even when you hide it, they know. I started going to the gym again. Eating better. Sleeping more. I stopped drinking every time a memory stabbed me in the chest. The truth is, revenge wasn't what saved me. It was purpose. Those two kids gave me a reason to move forward when I felt like drowning. Every morning when they came downstairs in their pajamas, rubbing their eyes and asking for pancakes, it reminded me, I wasn't broken. Just bent. And now, I was straightening myself out, one choice at a time. Jessica? She wasn't doing so well. Rumor had it she was couch hopping, living with some old friend from high school. She tried getting Greg back, but that ship had sunk the moment his career did. Apparently, his wife had taken half his assets in the divorce. Karma's funny like that. She texted me once. Just one word. Talk? I stared at the screen for a while. My thumb hovered over the reply button, but I didn't type a thing. What was there to say? She wasn't sorry. She was just lonely. Probably drunk. And I wasn't her safety net anymore. I blocked the number. Later that week, her sister, Claire, reached out. She's spiraling, she said. Drinking. Lashing out. I know you hate her, Jake, but she's still their mom. Maybe you could talk some sense into her? I told Claire the truth. She stopped being their mom when she started treating them like bargaining chips. That was the end of that. I wasn't cruel. But I was done being soft. One night, I took Emma and Tyler to the beach. We brought a blanket, some sandwiches, and just sat there, watching the sun drop into the ocean like a ball of fire giving way to peace. Emma curled up next to me. Tyler was digging a hole in the sand like he was on a mission to reach the other side of the planet. And in that moment it hit me. This was enough. This quiet, this simplicity, it wasn't a fallback life. It was real. Not built on appearances or guilt, or desperate attempts to fix someone who never wanted to be fixed. Just love. Pure. Honest. Messy, but beautiful. I wasn't the same man anymore. The Jake who ignored his instincts. Who put everyone else first until he had nothing left. That guy died the moment I walked into my bedroom and found my wife with another man. This Jake? He knew better. He knew that love without respect is just imprisonment. That trust once shattered should never be handed back. That kids don't need a perfect family, they need a present parent. One who protects them. One who shows them what strength looks like. And Jessica? She became the lesson I would never forget. But also one I would never repeat. 3 months passed. Peace held strong. No calls. No surprise appearances. No fake apologies. I figured Jessica had finally accepted her defeat. But snakes don't die quietly. They slither in the grass, waiting for the next moment to strike. And she did. It started with a letter, handwritten, no return address. She knew I wouldn't open a text or answer a call, so she went old school. Inside was 4 pages of what I can only describe as emotional gymnastics, half apology, half blame, and 100% manipulation. I know I hurt you, she wrote. But I was hurting too. You were distant, cold, never emotionally available. I needed affection. I needed to feel alive. That's what she said. Like sleeping with my boss was some sort of self-care retreat. She tried to guilt me. Said the kids missed her, that I was poisoning them by keeping them away. Said Greg meant nothing. That it was just physical. And that deep down, she still loved me. Loved me? After the years of lies? After stealing my peace, my trust, my dignity? She didn't love me, she loved control. So I did what I always do now, I didn't react. I didn't call. I didn't text. I took the letter straight to my lawyer, who advised me to store it in case she tried to reopen custody arrangements. We weren't going to give her any ammo to twist things in court. But a week later, I got a different kind of message, one that hit a lot harder. It was from Emma's school counselor. Apparently, Jessica had shown up during recess. No prior warning. No permission. Just walked in and tried to pull Emma aside for a heart-to-heart. Emma froze. Didn't talk. Didn't even look at her. She just walked away. That same night, my daughter sat on the couch with her knees pulled to her chest. She looked up at me and said, "Dad, Mommy smells like wine now. And she talks to herself a lot." My heart broke all over again, not for Jessica, but for the part of my kids that still hoped she'd show up and be something real. Something stable. Something safe. I filed an emergency motion the next morning. The judge issued a no-contact order for the children. It was final. Jessica was cut off. And that should have been the end. But I had one more card to play. I hired a video editor. Gave him the old footage, Jessica and Greg from our home security system. The audio from her laughing, calling me pathetic. The screenshots where she bragged about how easy I was to manipulate. Then I sat down and recorded my side of the story. Just me. No dramatics. Just the truth. I posted it anonymously on a private blog. Not to shame her. Not to go viral. But to document. For anyone out there who thought they were crazy. For the guys who were being gaslit. For the ones drowning in doubt and blaming themselves. And in that final clip I said, "She thought I'd fall apart. That I'd beg. That I'd chase. But I didn't. I stood up. I fought smart. I walked away stronger. And if you're reading this, if you're in that dark place, I promise you can walk out too." A few days later, Claire texted me again. Just 3 words. She saw it. Apparently, Jessica had stumbled across the post. Or maybe someone showed her. Either way, it wrecked her. She messaged Claire at 3 a.m. saying I'd publicly humiliated her. That she had nothing left. I didn't reply. Not then. Not ever. Because some people don't deserve closure. Some stories don't get a second chapter. And some victories come in the form of silence. The morning after I heard Jessica saw the post, I sat alone on the porch, sipping coffee, watching the sunrise slowly light up the front yard. It was the same house, but it didn't feel like the same life. For the first time in over a decade, I didn't feel like I was living in someone else's lie. I was finally standing in a life that was mine. There were no more traps to dodge. No more fake book club nights. No more pretending to be blind while she played games behind my back. The war was over. And I had won. But it wasn't the kind of victory you celebrate with champagne. It was quiet. Clean. A deep breath after holding it for far too long. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't laughing. I was just at peace. That afternoon, Tyler had his soccer game. Emma was sitting on the grass, sketching something in her notebook. I knelt beside her and asked what she was drawing. "It's our house," she said. "But with just us. Me, you, and Tyler. No more fighting. It's happy now." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Looks perfect," I said softly. They'd seen too much. Heard too much. Felt every cold look, every fake laugh, every slammed door. And still, they were standing. Resilient. Brighter than ever. That's how I knew I'd done the right thing, not for me, but for them. Later that night, I sat at my desk and pulled out one final envelope, the last letter Jessica had sent. I hadn't opened it. I wasn't planning to. But curiosity had a way of whispering. So I opened it. Inside were 2 things, a photo of our wedding day, and a note that said, "I still don't understand how you let me go so easily." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the irony was absurd. Let her go. She never realized. I let go of myself to hold on to her for years. I let go of my self-respect, my peace, my identity. I gave everything until I was nothing but an empty shell in a smiling photo. And she thought I let her go easily? No. What I did wasn't easy. It was survival. And now, here I am, telling this story not for pity, not for praise, but because someone out there is in the same damn spot I was. Sitting in silence, wondering if they're overreacting. Wondering if they should stay. For the kids. Wondering if they'll ever recover if they leave. Here's my answer: you will. You will get back up. You will rebuild. You will wake up one day and not feel like a hollow man living a stranger's life. You'll find your spine. And your voice. And your peace. And you'll realize, you were never the weak one. You were just the one who loved too much for too long. That's not weakness. That's strength. It's just time to redirect it towards someone who truly matters. You. To those who say men shouldn't talk about betrayal, who say we should suck it up, walk it off, be the strong, silent type, I say screw that. Speak up. Fight back. Get your truth out. Because silence only protects the liar. This is my story. I loved. I was betrayed. I was broken. And I came back sharper, smarter, and stronger. I may have lost a wife, but I gained a life. And if you're still in that storm, wondering when it'll end, let this be your sign. The storm passes. And when it does, the sun doesn't just rise, it scorches everything that tried to burn you. So stand up. Walk out. Burn it all down if you have to. Then rebuild. Brick by goddamn brick.